Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Jeremy Maggio here from Maggio's Wood-Fired Pizzas in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Jeremy, thanks for jumping on with me today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. You have a newer, wonderful restaurant in Wauwatosa, and if you don't mind, I'd love to ask you 6 questions about your business.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. When people ask you what Maggio's Wood-Fired Pizza does, how do you describe it?
I say we're a fast casual restaurant offering wood-fired pizza with all homemade ingredients and dough. And we also have a full menu, beer, wine, appetizers, desserts.
That sounds very good to me. So we talked a little bit before I pressed record here, and you had kind of a little taste of what opening a restaurant would be like before you actually did. What were your plans when you started your business, and how have they changed? Can you kind of give me that timeline?
Yeah, absolutely. So in 2015, without ever having made a wood-fired pizza, I built an oven on a trailer and started doing private catering. I love wood-fired pizza. I mean, it felt like there weren't a lot of options in the area. And so I decided to try my hand at it. I did have a full-time job, and I did that on weekends, catering things like graduation parties or other events on weekends. And so that's kind of where I got my first taste of the entire process and being in the food service industry, and I really enjoyed it. We did take a hiatus when my wife and I moved across the country for a while, and the deal was when we left that when we came back that I'd be able to at least try to open up a restaurant, and so we've made good on that.
Well, congratulations on that, for pursuing that and getting that accomplished. Tell me how long you've been in business now? A couple months, right?
Yeah, 2 months earlier this week. So it's very early days, and we feel really good about where we're at. We've really focused on first of all the quality and consistency of our food, training, and making sure that everyone who's here is not only good at whatever their primary role is, but also cross training and making sure that we have a lot of flexibility with our labor.
Just like it's baseball season now too, and those utility players or those utility team members are so important, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So you actually opened up your business, the restaurant, at one of the slowest times for restaurants right after the holidays. So that's
Yeah.
quite brave of you, and congratulations that you're just kicking it. I love it. Besides
Thank
employing
you.
13 people, what is the biggest way you impact the community so far?
Well, I would say so far, the biggest way we've impacted the community is by renovating this space. So we have 2,300 square feet that was in need of updating. It had been owned by and run by the same people for a long time. They had a successful business here. They retired, and anyone who was familiar with the space and comes in and sees what we've done with it shows a lot of appreciation. And so I think that that initial investment in the community and updating a space that really deserved. We have a beautiful building as well, and now the inside matches the aesthetic outside, and so I'd say so far that's the biggest way we've impacted the community. Now we are starting next month, and this is the first time I'm mentioning this. Starting a charitable donation where every month we pick a different charity and we donate a percentage of our sales to that charity. So that's another way that we always plan to do that. It's taken us a couple months to get there, but that's another way that we plan on connecting and being a part of the community.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. And only 2 months in,
Thank
you're
you.
already thinking about the community. That's absolutely wonderful. I want to ask you one more question. When you talk about the renovations, you have these beautiful pictures behind you. Do you want to share a little bit about the pictures?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Sicilian. My grandparents came from Sicily in the 50s. And in showing, first of all, this beautiful gallery wall that we have,
Mm.
my sister is a very successful and talented designer, and so she helped design the space and this gallery wall. But just looking at a few of the pictures behind me, we have, my dad and cousins, and an old photo here. This photo here is actually from the town that my grandparents are from, and where I still have family in Sicily. It's this beautiful, like 270-degree view of the countryside.
Wow.
And we have some other pictures from that town up in this area. Basically everything on this gallery wall, just about everything in the entire space has I have a personal connection to. And it wasn't something that I thought about going into. Like, it was just kind of, what else when you have those personal experiences and history, then it's easy to incorporate into your own space.
Absolutely. They're absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing a little bit more about that. Bringing your culture into that is so, so unique and special. So you're new to business again. What is one challenge that you have faced so far that other business owners could learn from?
Boy, I don't think we have enough time to go through all of them, so I'm glad you said one. I would say, we did go through, like I said, a pretty substantial renovation and construction in this space. Our construction budget from about a month before we started until when we finally ended increased about 30%. And it's something that when, this is a 100-year-old building. It was built in 1928 and has gone through several renovations since. And so, open up a wall or a ceiling, you find things and have to adjust. And so I would say for anyone that's looking to take over a space and do renovations, to be really thorough in understanding what will need to be done. We kind of did the best we could. We had our general contractor, we had structural engineers in and all of that. And still, we ran into things. And so making sure to budget, enough contingency, along with having as much information as possible about the space before diving in, I think would be my biggest point of advice.
Yeah, that's huge. Thank you so much for sharing that. How did when you found things, did it actually slow down being able to open, or were you planning on opening in February the entire time, and did you stick to that?
We had planned on opening in January. We opened about 3 weeks later than originally planned. But I had, so we had a 3-month construction. I had 4 months. I had an additional month of contingency, we'll call it, of timing for construction. And we ate up that month plus a few more weeks. So yes, construction went later than expected. It did impact our opening, but not as much as it could have had we not kind of already planned for a lot of that.
Absolutely. Really smart that you planned that extra time in there. I mean, and I've heard stories where people are being pushed out like 6 months, 8 months. So that's great that you weren't planning like right in November before the holidays when things are really high. So that's excellent. So what does the future
We
look
did
like?
one more point on that. We did have the luxury of we had maybe 4 months between when we signed the lease and when we took over the space. And the biggest concern a lot of times is supply chain. We bought a lot of our materials very early, well before we needed them. And so we did not have any delays due to supply chain. It was all about finding things and having to do additional work. So I just wanted to make that point of, it wasn't just supply chain. It was all these other things that caused the delays in our construction.
Surprises. And well, thank you so much for sharing that. My next question is, what does the future look like to you? And do you have an exit plan?
I'm going to answer the second part of that first. Do you have an exit plan? I've only been asked that one other time. It was by a friend of a friend who is a very successful business person, and this was maybe about a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago, and I kind of laughed when he asked me. I said no, I don't have an exit plan. If we fail, well, I go back to working another job, and I pay off debt for a while. But I think the important part, this is what I want to do, and so while I think it's very smart and important to have an exit plan. The bigger thing for me in going into this business was not being afraid of failure and knowing what if the restaurant is not successful, and we end up having to close or whatever, that I know what will come after that. But there is a Rudyard Kipling poem that is called If, and one of the lines is, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat both those imposters just the same. I mean, if you do your best and give your all to something, whether the dollars and cents say you're successful or not, that's not what you should take. If you put your all into something, then you are successful. And so when you ask about an exit plan, no, I'm going to give my all to this. Do I know that for myself and my family, are we still going to, financially, are we going to be okay? Yes, I had to make sure that we were secure in that fashion, but your traditional exit plan is not something that I ever took into account.
Sure.
So
that is, I will definitely look up that poem. One of the things our coaches talk with our business owners about is that mindset. And they say, everything is neutral until you give it meaning. So if you're even on that pendulum between disaster and triumph, like you were talking about, then you're in a great place, right? You're being open to whatever happens. And, and the reason why we ask a lot of times about exit plans is because some business owners don't realize that they're creating so much equity in themselves, and eventually they could sell that business. I've talked with other business owners that, like, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, yeah, it's not just for you, it's for the community. So thank you for sharing all of that. My final question for you, Jeremy, is all subjects open. What inspires you most?
Well, I'm going to answer with a few things.
Cool.
The perfect pizza certainly inspires me. We get better every day. I've been making pizzas for over 8 years. And, every day I learn a little more and get a little better. I also really want to create a safe and environment, not just for our customers, but for our employees, and creating a place of good community and mutual respect and all those things. I really want this space to, when people come in, for them to feel like they're walking into their grandparents' home, or something very familiar and comforting. And so I'd say creating that community, creating that space is kind of what I'm most inspired by. And I'll just end it with just a couple days ago, somebody walked in the door and they saw some friends of theirs and that they weren't expecting to see there, and they started talking, and then they came and ordered, and they sat down with them and had a drink, and seeing that community come together here. And so we're getting flashes of it already. It's exactly what I was hoping for in this space, and it just made me really happy. I told the person as they were ordering, I was like, this is why we're here. I love to see it.
That is so cool. Thank you so much for sharing that, creating this great space for the community, and also this awesome wood-fired pizza. Do you want to do me one favor and tell people why wood-fired pizza is special, different, and just amazing before I ask you how we can get it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we cook in an oven that is only fueled by wood. It's all oak, and we cook at temperatures around 800 to 850 degrees. And so it's a cooking environment, a baking environment that you just don't have anywhere else. So our dough is specially made for that. All the ingredients are prepared specially for that. And it's, when it comes out right, it's just magical. You have this evenly charred and crispy crust that's soft in the middle, and chewy, and the flavor that gets developed. We ferment our dough at least 24 hours. Sometimes it's 48 hours, and the flavor that gets developed there and then cooked in that oven environment, it's not something that you can replicate at home. And so it's something that I never get tired of. I love it every single day. All of our employees love it. They're always asking for free pizzas, and I love that too. It tells me we're doing something right. And so that's what you can expect when you come here, is a type of pizza that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Oh my goodness, it sounds great. I cannot wait to get in there myself. So you're in Wauwatosa. If somebody wants to step into the restaurant or connect with you, what is the best way for them to find out more?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at 7212 West North Avenue. We're in East Tosa, and you can find us. You can go onto our website. Search for us on Google. You'll see our store hours. We're open. Currently, we're open 7 days a week, 4 to 8 on weekdays, and then we're also open for lunches on Saturday and Sunday. So you can see our menu. You can also order online every day but Friday. And you can always call in and order for takeout. And yeah, we also have an Instagram account and a Facebook account. So if you can follow along, see daily specials. We have weekly specials. Tuesdays, our happy hour, 4 to 6. Wednesday is kids night, where we have a special, get a pizza and gelato. And we only plan on adding more. So you can keep up with us in any of those places.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your business, your passion for this awesome pizza, and your community, Jeremy. Good luck in 2023, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Bye now.
My pleasure.